got that as a Chiefs like Tom Brady got with that with the Patriots.
We did for a while.
I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I feel like we really haven't gotten that treatment because I've seen a handful of players not come to the Chiefs. Not saying it's because of Beach or Mahomes' fault, but I feel like we haven't really gotten that treatment as we all perceived it to be.
Well, I think we did to a degree because there was players that could have gotten more money other places, and they decided to come here. There was players that got offered more money to play for their current team and traded to us, or they got offered the same amount of money to stay where they were at, and they decided to come here. But in the same aspect, we're not playing to our ability right now, so that detours players to some degree. And then, of course, they go backwards and they say, well, if you want me to come play for you guys, then we want the bigger checks. But that has nothing to do with Mahomes' contract because, to be honest with you, he's not being paid that much right now. So it's not a matter of that. I think the highest paid player this year on our team is Frank Clark, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's got the bigger chunk of the money this year. So it's not a matter, and I don't even know if it's so much, with Spags, I think he just needs an attitude adjustment, or I guess I don't even know if it's an attitude more than it is I think he needs to come into the 21st century and realize that it doesn't matter where you're at on the depth chart. If you can play, you can play. And if he can do that and utilize the players that he has, which he has some phenomenal players on that team that just sit, like a Juan Thornhill that sat for 5 straight weeks, over petty bullshit, then things will change. But there are some personnel issues that need to be worked out, and I think this is finally coming to a head. I don't know if I'm not going to say it's all Spags because it's not.
It's a team effort. It's everyone. It's everyone's fault at this point.
It is. But as far as the coaching staff is concerned, it's not all Spags. There's a couple other coaches involved within that defensive side that have been an issue. And I'm probably overstepping my bounds, but I'll leave it at that. So yes, they can turn it around, and yes, they can, you never know. I mean, they could turn things around and win 7 straight games. You just don't know with this team. Yeah. But it's just a matter of everybody coming together and doing what they need to do and getting out of this bubble effect and the vanilla offense and opening up the playbook past page 3 and doing what they need to do to win. And when they do that, things will change. And I'll put a lot of it on Bieniemy too, because he's the one out there calling the plays right now. It's not Andy, it's Bieniemy. So he's the one that is calling these plays. He's the one that's dialing them up, and they're not working. It's that simple. When Mahomes is let free and he calls the plays and he's out there doing what he wants to do, works out pretty freaking well. So I'll go with that.
Good, man. The next question is from Brentley Palmer. How does this get better? Spags is stuck in his way. He's just gonna say they did a good job of limiting Henry, and then Andy is gonna say this is on me. I have to do better. Times yours. It's a terrible rendition of Groundhog Day. I'm sorry. I had to bleep out a couple of things he said because they weren't appropriate. But I think he is right that Spags is stuck in his way. They have to change it. It kind of gets tiresome hearing Andy saying we need to change it. It's on me. I mean, that's only the fan base is getting tired of that at this point. So,
well, the coaches are always going to say, especially Andy, because he's a stand-up guy. He's always going to say it's on me. I mean, he blames everything on himself, and it is what it is. But he knows it's not on him because he allows his coaches to coach. So, Andy's going to probably have a long conversation again with these coaches, and hopefully things turn around. And if it doesn't turn around, I don't think he's going to make the same mistake he made with Sutton. I don't think he's going to keep around.
Yeah, that wasted some years of development.
It did, and you can't waste that now with a Mahomes. You can't waste careers because, you had Alex Smith at 33 years old. You can't have a 26-year-old phenom waste his career because of a Bob Sutton. And a defense that just doesn't want to help, or whatever the case may be, or even an Eric Bieniemy that can't turn the page in a playbook or think outside the box, or whatever the case may be. Andy is, yes, the head coach of the team. He's the one that wrote that big thick playbook, but he relies.
It just seems like they're not using it. They're not using it,
and that's
it seems
part
like
of it.
They're saying that, okay, we're gonna bring a player in. Oh, they don't understand the playbook. Well, why are we even using that as a thing to do a criteria if we're not even gonna get that to our own players?
Yeah.
So at this point, I have no idea, man.
I don't either. And that's the thing.
If you're
going to use a vanilla offense, then use the player that you just brought in and put him in that vanilla offense. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that's simple. So,
the next one is from K Mullins 38632. Explain what happened. How do you as a player account for this? What's the next step? How does a team recover from this embarrassment lack of effort? K Mullins, I think just everything we said in the show, they have to have a come to Jesus meeting with themselves and figure out what are we going to do in order to help make this team better. I have a feeling things are going to change. I'm always an optimistic person. I'm not going to bash the players, but I call it as I see it. I think in the end of the day, they will figure it out, but this will depend on the coaching staff because the players can only do so much. They're doing what the coaches tell them to do, and if that's not going to work, sometimes it just struggles. I think your answer basically echoes what I just said.
Yeah, I mean it is. I mean, they're not out there making their own plays up, so they have assignments, and Tyron said something in a tweet a couple days ago, and some guy said, well, it looks like Tyron was out there, didn't know what the hell he was doing. And
he was saying the defense is, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
right.
And
sorry.
Tyron knew exactly what he was doing. He actually broke off the play and went after it as soon as he saw the spread. So, I mean, that's pretty intelligent on his part because it was an all-out blitz. And it was an all-out blitz because I watched that play on all 22, and I thought, okay, that's an all-out blitz. Tyron broke off, and he did what he had to do to try to make a play. So normally in a perfect world, you cover your man and everybody covers their man. And as long as the play is read correctly, then the play's stopped. But you still have to, and if you break off, and here's the thing, if you break off your play or off your man and you get whiffed, then your coach is all over your ass. Or if it ends up in a touchdown situation. So you're it's like you're fighting. It's a double-edged sword. So you have to, you have to trust the process to a degree, but then also you have to trust your instincts. So there's a fine line between both sides. And most intelligent players will know that fine line, like a Tyron. He's very intelligent.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. The next question is, how does Mahomes start limiting his turnovers? How does Mahomes limit his turnovers?
Well, getting the hell out of the box, starting to play his game. They're covering him in a situation that they're putting him in a situation that he is not playing his game. And also the wide receivers they're not used to this. I said this before. When you spend 3 years watching a quarterback roll out of the pocket, buying time, you open yourself up for him, you come back to the play, open yourself up so you can make a play, and you make that play, and then all of a sudden that's gone. And you got a quarterback that's standing in the pocket, moving forward, moving backwards, moving forward, moving backwards. You don't see it as well. The wide receivers don't see it as well. They can't see his eyes. They can't see his movements. They don't see his hand gestures. So then it limits what he can do. So the ball is either going to get intercepted, the ball is going to go in the dirt, the wide receiver's not going to be able to see what's going on, and it creates interceptions. Mahomes is better on the run. He makes better balls or better throws vertically, horizontally. I've never seen anybody throw a ball left-handed better than him for a right-handed guy. But to limit him the way they have is causing a lot of this problem. And the wide receivers are not used to this. Again, I've said this over and over and over again. And after I said it, weirdly enough, even some of these large, big time guys out there that played the game said the exact same thing. That nobody's used to this. They're used to him buying time and being able to roll out of the pocket. He uses hand gestures and his eye movements and his shoulders for wide receivers, and they see it and they get open, and he buys time that way. Nobody can see that behind a line of 300-pound dudes.
Yeah.
So, and he doesn't have the time frame to be able to get the ball out. So yeah, and today was a great example. He stayed in the pocket a half a second too long and almost got killed. This has got to stop. It's that simple. He rolls to the right. That's what he does. That's his go-to move for the most part. He has rolled to the left a lot, but he likes to roll to the right. Either way, whatever he decides to do, he stepped up in the pocket, and I specifically remember a play, and I actually put it out on the Chiefs Focus page, where he came to, it was almost like a perfect, we called it the toe drag swag, because he came to the line of scrimmage and drug his toe when he threw the ball, and it was a perfect pass for a touchdown to Kelsey. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And that's the kind of stuff that he knows how to do. And he didn't get injured. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get hit. He didn't get his head torn off. But now he's getting his head torn off. He's getting hit. He's getting buried, throwing interceptions, balls in the dirt, throwing the ball away, sacked. I don't know what else I can say to make this change. And if the coaches don't see it, then I don't know what the hell to tell them. I mean, one coach in particular, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, man. It's just frustrating. At this point, it's very frustrating to see. I think what it comes down to, you're basically echoing the same sentiment as me. They need to figure out a way and let Mahomes play his game, basically.
Yeah.
When they basically in the 2018 season said, Mahomes, here you go, would let him unleash because the defense wasn't good, he was able to show up and show out. There's going to be a question later, people asking, well, has Mahomes been figured out? No. He's being limited. I think that's more of the issue because we've seen him make spectacular plays. He's being limited. No one is figuring him out. Okay, you can put two safeties over the top, but the issue is that they're not adjusting that until the third quarter on the third drive when they're already down by 3 touchdowns. You need to adjust that after like maybe the first quarter or maybe earlier. Yeah. So I think when it comes down to it, what can we do? Yeah. So the next question, a couple of these are just repeats. What should we do with Orlando Brown moving forward? I think this is just a bad game. Let's just give it time. I think he can still do his thing and help us become a better team and push through. But I think let's just give it time. We traded for him for a reason. There's going to be bad games. That's all I'm going to really say.
Yeah, I agree. And, there's one guy that's been in the waiting, and he's healthy, and he said he would come back at any point. And he plays on the opposite side. But, there's a Mitchell Schwartz out there that's ready to come back and play at any point. So if we need him, he'll come back for very minimal money to come back and play for us if we need him back.
You think he's going to help?
I think he would
because what he did when he had a security blanket, he struggled.
Yeah, well, I think he might be a little bit. I think he could help. I think he could help a little bit.
I believe.
I think he knows the system, and I think he's had that time off and he's healthy. Although the difference is he's lost weight, and looking at him, he's lost a lot of weight. So I don't know if that's
he hasn't been bulking up that much.
Exactly. So I don't know if that'd be helpful, but he did say that he wouldn't play for anybody else but the Chiefs. So that, which is cool. But anyway, I think Orlando's going to be fine. Remember, this is his first year in this system, and he just had a bad game for the most part. This is a top 5 offensive line, so it's ranked top 5 in the league. It was prior to this week. So I'm not complaining about the offensive line. I think it was just a bad day. I mean, and the fact, again,
I agree.
Mahomes is standing there. So he just had a bad day. Mahomes had a bad day. It is what it is. He had a rough day. He got hit. He fumbled. He lost that ball, and he lost it right when he was tucking it. And the guy it was perfect. It was actually a perfect hit. I mean, he wrapped him with one arm and took the ball out with the other right when Mahomes was tucking the ball in. So that was perfect technique on the defender side. I'm not going to take that away from him because it was. It just is what it is. So.
Yep.
Anyway,
You're not wrong, man. The next question is, why did the Chiefs pick up Gordon just not to use him? Instead, continuing to throw to guys like Robinson and Hardman.